And we're still waiting.
Yes, sir. We can start the session now.
Okay, great.
So, participants, welcome back. I hope you had a very fruitful forenoon session. So, again, in the afternoon session, as we have already told you, there are four different speakers who will be addressing us on related topics. So, here we have Dr. Reeshab Goenka, who is the scientific managing editor from Elsevier. And the topic that he will be discussing today is how Elsevier helps authors find the most suitable home for their research. I also have the proud privilege of introducing such a personality to you. So, Reeshab Goenka is currently working for a little over a year as a scientific managing editor for energy journals in the Author Heroes team at Elsevier. He has completed his PhD in 2020 at the Department of Energy Science and Engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, Mumbai, where his focus area was bioelectrochemical systems. He has completed a bachelor's degree in 2011 in biotechnology from Heritage Institute of Technology, Kolkata, and also has a master's degree MTech in 2013 in energy engineering from the National Institute of Technology, Tiruchirappalli. He has previously worked for 2 years and 9 months as a research associate in the Advanced Biofuels Division at the Energy and Resources Institute, TERI, New Delhi, where he was part of the DBT, Center of Excellence on Advanced Biofuels and Biocommodities. So he has also authored and co-authored 3 journal publications and 8 conference proceedings. Sir, we are sure that your inputs today for the participants here is going to be highly beneficial, and we are eagerly looking forward to your session, sir. You may start now.
Thank you so much for this warm introduction, Dr. Shobha. Um, Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for taking the time to attend this session. Um, I attended a part of the last talk as well. So I saw a lot of you are here. So that's really nice to know. Two things to begin with. I am having a little cold, so please forgive me if I cough in between. That is first. And second, there is a slight chance that the place where I am at may have a power cut. Although I have some backup, there is a chance that I may get offline for around 2 minutes. So please bear with me as I make my way back. Uh, I'll start my presentation now. So I hope to finish within 45 minutes, after which we will have question and answers. I want to make this as interactive as possible. There would be some polls in between as well. So I hope that all the participants will participate in that poll, which will help me figure out how to navigate my talk as well. So the topic of your workshop is academic research and publishing in high quality journals. And what I have chosen to speak to you about is how Elsevier helps authors to find the most suitable home for their research. Uh, the contents of my presentation will begin with a brief overview of Elsevier. I will talk about only some of the products and services from Elsevier, which would be useful to researchers. I will talk about Elsevier article transfer service, which is my core job, uh, and what authors can expect from Elsevier, and of course, about scientific managing editors, which is my job title as such. So before we begin, I would like to take a poll. So if it is possible for you, please go to slido.com and uh, you will get an option to enter this particular number where there is a poll waiting for you. Or if you have your mobile devices on you, smart mobile devices, of course, you can scan this QR code as well, and it would get you to the same location. The poll says that which one of the following applies to you best, whether you're a master's student or earlier, whether you're a PhD scholar less than 2 years, whether you're a PhD scholar in 3 to 5 years, more than 5 years, or you are a faculty. So this will help me figure out who my audience is, and we can cater the talk accordingly, and of course discuss multiple items. So I will, still now I have only received votes from 15 participants. Uh, Still waiting on more. I will leave it open for 2 more minutes. Please answer this poll. Hopefully it is not difficult to join and actually uh, put in your vote or for this poll. I still have only 35 entries, 36. So I was seeing 700, over 700 participants earlier. I was expecting a much higher number right now, but yeah, only 40 participants till now. And a majority of them are PhD scholars, less than 2 years. That's good to
Maybe
know.
some of them are using their mobile phones to attend the session. So they're figuring out how
Okay.
to do the QR code, maybe, sir.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. I'll give it 2 more minutes. We have a long session. It's one and a half hours, so uh, I just hope you don't get bored seeing my face. But yeah, let's wait for a few more minutes. So we still have only 62 votes in. Masters or earlier are just 2%, 17% faculty, 29% PhD 3 to 5 years. Okay, so I'll give it 2 more minutes, and we'll see where we are. So what this will do is that it will help me figure out how to cater my talk to uh, this audience. Okay, so I see numbers varying, but yeah, PhD less than 2 years is the maximum. If you're on a laptop, if you're on a mobile phone as well, you can just go to any internet browsing app and go to www.slido.com. Over there, you'll have an option of join as a participant, and you can enter this particular number on your screen. Or if you are on a laptop or something, you can use your smart devices as well using the QR code. So whichever is more suitable to you. So I have 84 responses till now. The responses are still trickling in. So what I'll do is that what I will move forward with the presentation. What I can see with 91 responses right now is that there are 49% PhD scholars less than 2 years, 51% now, and PhD scholars 3 to 5 years are 23%. So they are constituting the majority, and faculty 17%, and very few PhD for over 5 years. Okay, I have more than 100 responses now. Okay, so I'll be closing the poll very soon. So if you haven't started yet, you can avoid this one. I think this I am assuming that now this is the distribution of all the participants who are available. I've got 111 responses. Okay, fine. So let me move on now. So I'll stop this poll with 113 responses. Yeah, so if you are now on that screen, it will not show that to you anymore. So moving on to my presentation. So first, what I'll do is that I will give you a brief overview of Elsevier. So Elsevier, you may know, is one of the leading publishers of scientific content in the world. And the pace of research is accelerating. Last year, we published more than 6 lakh peer-reviewed articles, 89% more than what we had published a decade ago. Every month, there are more than 18 million users on ScienceDirect. And in 2020, for instance, there were 1.6 billion articles that were downloaded. And our titles, there are 2,700 plus digitized journals, including the Lancet, which you may know uh, recently got an impact factor of greater than 200, which was just way too much, of course. There are more than 43,000 ebook titles, and more than 99% Nobel laureates have published in Elsevier journals since the year 2000. So what we can we believe at Elsevier is that informed decisions lead to better outcomes, and we want to be the trusted partner of researchers, of the research community, to help them get to those informed decisions. So we understand that I understand that this is a little text heavy slide, but I will just go over it cursorily. It brings out what Elsevier is all about. So we understand that the content and knowledge are our core and contribution to a scientifically literate society. It is our foundation of trust with the research and health communities. We are growing as a body of knowledge, and we are evolving in the ways in which the content is accessed, whether it is open access, whether it is subscription, ensuring that options are available for both authors as well as institutions. It is the authors and the institutions which decide how they want to uh, access their content, or how they want to publish their research outputs. Uh, we are going beyond publishing as well. We are a unique delta of data, analytics, and evidence that helps us to innovate and help our customers improve learning, spark insights, and improve decision making. With our various products, with our various analytics, we the help the research community, including healthcare professionals, to reach better outcomes. And finally, every person at Elsevier does their part with a strong sense of purpose, social responsibility, and appreciation for the role that inclusion and diversity plays to create better science and health, and for us as a better company. And this commitment sustains us in the times of crisis. Now, in the time of the pandemic, we've seen a lot of things that have changed our way. And for the people at Elsevier, our mission has never been clearer. We help researchers and healthcare professionals advance science and improve health outcomes for the benefit of the society. It is scientists who are and researchers and healthcare professionals who are leading us out of this crisis. And that is where Elsevier is coming in as their trusted partner to help them make informed decisions. If you have any questions about Elsevier as such, I can pause here for any questions, and then I'll move on to the core of my presentation on the specific products and services which will help researchers. If you have any questions, please on Elsevier as such, or on what I said, I would wait for a minute.
So the participants can put their questions in the Q&A that is available for them.
Okay.
So which I think will be visible to you also, sir.
Oh, okay. Actually, I think while I'm sharing my screen and all, I am unable to see that at the moment.
Okay.
Could you please help
I
me
will
if
just
there
ask
are
you
any
the
questions? Yes, please. Please. Thank you so much.
Yes. So
Yeah.
participants, if you have any questions
So far,
you can, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe the participants will key in their questions as and when we
Okay.
proceed.
Oh, fine. Let us have the questions at the end.
Yes.
because this was actually a little too much information which may or may
Yes.
not have been communicated earlier. So I just wanted to pause here for a minute or two.
Sure, sir.
So we've
Yeah.
already done that. Um, and now we'll move on to the next. So as I mentioned, Elsevier, uh, our goal is to be a trusted partner for the research community. And we have a vast bouquet of products and services to help a researcher in every step of the manuscript writing process. Although Elsevier has many more products and services, I have chosen a few of them which would help a researcher like you. As I saw, their PhD less than 2 years is the is the maximum percentage of people here, and other PhD students as well as faculty. So at some point in your PhD career, or if you're a faculty in your teaching career, you will be writing manuscripts. You will be doing research. You will be writing manuscripts, and I will be talking about a few of our products and services which would help an author in that writing process as well. So what I wish to am I audible? Uh,
Yes, sir. You're very much audible. You can continue.
oh, actually, it hung. The system hung for me, so I thought, yeah.
Yes, we saw that you froze for a while. Please continue.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So
That's fine.
some of the products which Elsevier offers, which I'm going to talk about, are ScienceDirect, Scopus, Mendeley, SSRN, Journal Finder, and Article Transfer Service. I will take the bulk of my time on Article Transfer Service as it is the uh, place where I work. It is part of my job portfolio. So, but I will go through the entire process one by one. So, for the next, uh, I would like you all to again get your mobile devices. For it's time for another poll. Uh, the instructions remain exactly the same. If you were already on that site, it should now be showing you the second poll, which says, have you used any of the following Elsevier products or services? ScienceDirect, Scopus, Reaxis, Mendeley, SSRN, Journal Finder, Article Transfer Service, and SciVal. This will help me figure out what my audience already knows, and I can spend more or less time on specific products accordingly.
So these are tough questions.
So I will be introducing each product and how it is useful to every researcher. I wish to know if the students or the faculty have already used some of these services or not, because it would be incredibly helpful for me to figure out where to focus more on or less on. I have some things in my mind already, but yes, so I have 63 responses till now, and it seems that 72% of you have used ScienceDirect, 56% have used Scopus, 37% Mendeley, uh, 3% only for SSRN, 27% Journal Finder, and 8% Article Transfer Service. No one has used Reaxys or SciVal. I understand that. It is not that useful for an individual researcher, and maybe not for a PhD student, unless you are of the specific field. So I have 80 responses till now. So last time I got over 100, so I'll wait for 100 and then I can move ahead. So I will be going one by one through each of these products and services, and I will try to correlate it to writing a manuscript, the stages of writing a manuscript for any journal. Now, this applies to any journal. I mean, uh, obviously, I would be biased towards Elsevier, but then the process would be suitable for any journal you may choose to publish in. So I have 88 responses till now. 73% of you have used ScienceDirect, which is an encouraging sign. 56% have used Scopus, 31% Mendeley, 22% Journal Finder, and 7% Article Transfer Service. That's actually quite encouraging, 7%. Hoping that after I am done with my session today, if I were to conduct a similar poll later on, you would have more on Mendeley and Article Transfer Service. So I have 96 responses till now, 73% with ScienceDirect, 30% on Mendeley, 22% only on Journal Finder. Okay. 98. I'll just wait for 1 more minute maximum. If you would like to get in your responses, which of these services or products of Elsevier have you used in the past? %60 on Scopus, 75% on ScienceDirect, 30% Mendeley, 22% Journal Finder, 1% has even used SciVal. That's nice. 2% SSRN. No chemists, I think, here, because they haven't used, nobody has used Reaxys. All right, I've got 107 responses till now. I'm going to go ahead and stop this poll. So what I understand is that most of you have used ScienceDirect and Scopus. A very 30% on Mendeley, and very few have used Journal Finder or Article Transfer Service. So now if we go into a manuscript writing process, are doing your PhD here, only less than 2% were masters or earlier. Even in masters, you would be doing a project at the end and you would be expected to write a report, and it is not very different from a managing process, although it differs in a lot of the details. So in order to begin the research process, the first thing one needs to do is to figure out the state of art, the literature review. All the faculty members know this, and the PhD students at the beginning of their career also know this because that is probably what they're spending most of their time on. Uh, and that is literature review, finding out where the current state of the art is, what has been published already, what is it that the scientific community already knows, and where is it that we can contribute as an individual researcher, as part of our research, as part of our PhD, right? So what you need, or what a researcher needs, is to find these peer reviewed articles. And the best, in my opinion, of course, place to do that is ScienceDirect. I saw that 75% of you have already used ScienceDirect. This is what the homepage of ScienceDirect looks like. It's the world's largest platform dedicated to peer review, primary scientific and medical research. So if you are from any field, whether it be life sciences, social sciences, physical sciences, or even health sciences, this is the world's largest platform where you can find peer reviewed information, peer reviewed published articles. And there are different ways in which you can search it. My previous speaker, Mr. Sharma, has already shown you different ways to do that on Web of Science. Uh, a lot of it you can do in ScienceDirect as well. All the journals from Elsevier are also housed on this website, where you can find out more about the journal, what are its important metrics, when, how much time does it take to get published, or and what is the latest issue, past issues, how guide for authors on how to write, uh, want to submit your article, where to go. So all this information is available on this platform. It hosts more 19 million pieces of content from over 4,400 journals, mostly Elsevier, but other publishers as well. Over 43,000 ebooks as well are available here. More than 18 million visitors, I mentioned earlier. And you can access published information in a secure manner. And there, our teams have integrated remote access tools as well. Uh, after, I mean, it was there before the pandemic. I have used it myself when doing my PhD. And after the pandemic, it has become much more important. So ScienceDirect is the tool, or is the platform where you can find so much information on, which is peer reviewed, of course, on the subject which you are looking for. Of course, you will need to know certain keywords of your topic. You can start with the generic one and come uh, drill down to specifics which you may be working on. And that is how ScienceDirect works. Now, ScienceDirect is housing a lot of, I mean, all of the Elsevier journals and other publishers as well. You can find a lot of information here, but you may need to do some analytics as well. You may need to find out what is getting published where, what is trending, uh, or if you know already which research group is publishing a lot of content, you may need to analyze what they are doing and how they are doing it. So the next product which I would like to talk about is Scopus, which helps you to do just that. Now, Scopus is a competitive product to the Web of Science, which Mr. Sharma just mentioned, showed you in the earlier talk. Scopus uniquely combines a comprehensive, expertly curated abstract and citation database with enriched data and linked scholarly literature across a wide variety of disciplines. So although it's an Elsevier product, it it is a database which includes all papers published from all I think all of the journal of the publishers. There are more than 7,000 publishers which are indexed on Scopus. It is a database. Again, it is a curated database, which means that not every journal gets to be indexed on Scopus. It takes some time to come there. It has to have some merits in order to be on Scopus. And of course, if it has those merits, then it is worth looking at the published articles or the journals or the publishers themselves. Scopus quickly finds relevant and authoritative research. It can help you identify like Mr. Sharma showed with Web of Science. It provides access to reliable data, metrics, and analytical tools. There are a lot of analytical tools here available to you to increase your confidence in progressing research, teaching, or finding out where the research is going, which are the current priorities. And all this is with this database. And it is similar to Web of Science. Of course, there would be certain nuances which would be different, but in essence, it is similar. It has over 84 million records, over 27,000 journals from more than 7,000 publishers. You can track, analyze, and visualize the world's research output. So it is useful not only to individual researchers, it is also useful to uh, research people who are taking administrative decisions with respect to research. For example, the deans of R&D, etc. So it would help them visualize where the output is, who is doing most impactful work, etc. So with the help of these tools, Scopus as well as ScienceDirect, you can do a comprehensive literature survey, and you can use it to create your own experiments, do the experiments if your work is experimental, or if simulation, do your simulation. And once you're done with that, the next step in the for a scholar is to write what we have done. There'd be an introduction, materials and methods, results and discussion, and a conclusion, right? So you would need to write that in a structured manner, make sure things are in place. If you're doing it individually, it would be tough. If you would likely be collaborating with other people within your lab, with other labs, or maybe with other institutions as well. And so when you are writing, when you are in the process of writing, say, a manuscript, or maybe even a report, maybe your yearly report, or if you are a master student, your final year project report, the tool that helps you there is Mendeley. This is an innovative research management and social collaboration platform. It is, I think, somewhat similar to this product. Again, Mr. Sharma showed from Clarivate at the end. I think it was EndNote or something. Mendeley is another product from Elsevier that helps you with this. I personally have used Mendeley throughout my PhD, and it has helped me, I mean, to get reports in a very neat and quick manner. And what it helps you with is that it is essentially your library of your manuscripts. You may have gone through hundreds of manuscripts. If you are early in your PhD, you've gone through only a few. But if you are, say, towards the end, you've gone through hundreds of manuscripts, and you have your own library of these manuscripts. So this you can access it everywhere. You have an account at Mendeley, and you can access it everywhere. It is useful for researchers, undergraduates, professionals, because it's not just manuscript writing, it is also useful in report writing. More than 15 million users. And the best thing, in my opinion, about Mendeley is the easy referencing. It can be very easily integrated in your report. The formatting references can take a lot of time. People who have written reports, people who have written manuscripts know this. Faculty definitely notes this. But referencing can be a big challenge. It can be a big time-taking affair. And Mendeley can help you with that a lot. And of course, it helps you in organizing and writing. And if you're collaborating on your research article with other people who may or may not be in your same institution, say you are collaborating with someone in IIT Madras, or maybe say IIT Bombay, or some other campus of your own. I mean, within Anna University, but some other campus. So you can have a shared library of manuscripts, and that can help you collaborate on a single document which may be getting prepared together. If these documents go here and there, if there are often times that the formatting changes, and you will see that the person who's checking it again has to again go through all the same process just to make sure everything is in place. So this is where Mendeley helps you. Now, if I assume that, okay, you've gone through the literature review, you've done your experiments, you've written a draft of your article, right? Now, one of the things that is important in the scientific community, in the research community, is being first to publish. You have to be publishing quickly, because if you are thinking of some innovative idea, there could be someone else around the world who's thinking of the same. And it, uh, your faculty, your supervisors, or the senior PhD students will tell you that it takes time to get published. And one of the ways, which is relatively modern, to get yourself, okay, I think I've frozen again. Could you please confirm if?
Sir, no,
Okay,
you're fine. We can
okay,
see
it's
the
fine, it's
slide and
fine.
we can also look at the video. You can continue.
Okay, fine, great, thank you. I Something happened. It looked as though I was frozen. So if you want to get your research out there, and one thing that helps to do that is a preprint. Once you have prepared a document, there are preprint communities which help you to get your research out there quickly, and it helps uh, to figure out who has reached a particular outcome first, if in case of disputes. So this is where the next tool which I'm talking about, which is SSRN, comes into the picture. So SSRN is an open access online preprint community. If you are submitting to your manuscript to any Elsevier journal, usually when in during the submission process, you are asked this question: if you would like to submit an early preprint on the SSRN server. So what it does is that it is an open access online preprint committee. So your draft manuscript, you can have it available to for other researchers to read. You can post your early stage research, and it is prior to publication in any academic journals. So it is not peer reviewed. So there's a chance that there could be certain errors there. The final manuscript which gets published would be not the same as what is available on this preprint community. However, if someone else were to say submit a manuscript almost similar to what you are working on or you have submitted in an academic journal, and it gets published before you, you would get the credit because you have already shared your findings on a preprint server, and it is open access, so anyone can access it. So I PhD scholars can also look at SSRN, the SSRN community, to see what research people are putting out there. However, be aware that it is not peer reviewed. What you see on ScienceDirect would be all peer reviewed research. What you see on SSRN is not peer reviewed, right? But this is something which is a relatively recent trend. More than 3 million monthly visitors and more than 1 million paper abstracts and disciplines are available. In some cases, you might find full texts as well. So this is a good way to get your research out there. People can post comments on your research, and you can get some idea on what the research community thinks about your work. It is not for everybody, of course, but uh, you may not be very willing to share it. But this is one of the tools which Elsevier provides. And now, say you have written your article, you may have put it on as a preprint. Now you want to find which journal where to publish, right? So this is where the next tool comes in and helps you, which is called the Journal Finder tool. Again, it is similar to what Mr. Sharma mentioned in the earlier talk, which is a Clarivate product on, I think it was called Match or something. This is another product from Elsevier. It is Journal Finder. You can put in your abstract, and you can choose to put in keywords and title, etc. And it will give you a list of journals where you may want to publish your research. You can filter on the basis of your needs, whether open access or not, whether which site score or which impact factor you want to publish, whether whose acceptance rates are higher or lower, or which journal publishes in the quickest. So you may get you can get those options. You can sort the journals based on that and basically decide where to submit your manuscript. This is one of the tools which is available from Elsevier, which helps you find the right place for your research. And you can, based on your choices, how you want to publish, what you expect, you can go ahead and use the journal. Okay, so now let us assume that you found uh, the journal where you want to publish, and you have already submitted there. So moving on. Now here I have another poll for you. So the instructions remain the same. So this time my question for the poll is, have you been published in the first journal you submitted your manuscript to? Now I know the majority of the audience is a PhD, are doing their PhD within the first 2 years. So you may not have submitted your first manuscript yet. So yes, no, or never submitted a manuscript. So I have 25 responses till now. Yeah. Please let me know what you think. We have 44% saying no, almost 20% saying yes. That's a very healthy number. It's really nice to know. 32% have not submitted a manuscript yet, 30% now, 65 respondents till now. All right, still waiting. And we have 78 respondents till now. 47% of you have said no. 22% yes. 24 now. Of course, I think you can see this now. 25% is a very encouraging number. Your first choices are really nice. All right, I'll give it just a minute. I have already received 100 plus responses. So 46% of you have said no. Just wait for another minute. This is the said yes. This is an incredibly healthy number. I expected it to be lower, but yeah, nice to know that 28% of you have been published to the first journal you submitted your manuscript to. Yeah, few more seconds. I've got 117 responses. Okay. All right. I'll stop this now. I've got 120 response. over 120 responses. 48% of you have not gotten published in the first journal you submitted your manuscript to, whereas 30% of you have, and around 27 or 30% have not submitted a manuscript yet. So as you can see, a majority of the people who have submitted the manuscripts have not been published at the first journal, right? And so this is where I come in, or this is rather part of my job, which is in Elsevier's article transfer service, which is the shortest path to publication. So why Elsevier article transfer service? Because you may be aware, you may see it on the journal's webpage as well. Every journal rejects a large number of manuscripts submitted to it. There could be a variety of reasons. Mostly it is scope, it is novelty, or it is the type of article. Many journals do not accept review articles submitted to them directly. Then sometimes reformatting is required to submit to another journal. You submit an article somewhere, it gets rejected, you need to submit it somewhere else, so you need to most likely reformat it, so that takes time. And when you submit to this again new journal, again you face the same issues in most situations, as you have seen in most of the respondents have faced, at least in their first journal. So it is a time taking and arduous affair to actually get published. It is maybe accepted, maybe rejected. So what is Elsevier article transfer service? This is where we come in, is to find the best home for your paper quickly and easily. We understand that the authors are unique, each paper is different. And so our expert editorial teams and state-of-the-art technology help you find the best match. Now, if you were using just Journal Finder, it would just be technology. But if you're using article transfer service, it is one, both, or a combination. So it is the expert editorial teams as well as the state-of-art technologies, analytics that we use to find the best home or the best match for your manuscript, for your paper. Because we know that your time is valuable, and we've got systems to ensure that the transfer process is as seamless and efficient as possible. When you use the Elsevier article transfer service, you will find the best match, you'll find the best home for your paper. You will reduce the effort spent on submission, so you'll get ease, and you'll also get speed because you will publish your article as quickly as possible. It is the shortest path to publication. Now, if I talk about the match, what factors we consider to determine the best match are: first, article type. We consider the scope of the journal and the interests of its readership. We look at the manuscript that you submitted, whether it's long, short primary research, or long primary research, review, a case report, or a perspective. And we use data to zoom in on the best match, which is possible. Because that is what authors want, right? They want to publish in a relevant journal that will help them make an impact. You want your research to be seen by others, to be used by others to develop the scientific community and the learning which exists. And here, what we do is that we take the input from the journal's editors themselves, the insights of our scientific managing editors like myself, and the matching capabilities of our learning algorithm. So inputs are taken from one or more of these factors to find the best match for your paper. So that helps you find a good place to publish. The next one, apologies for the verbose slide. Our goal is to make it as seamless for you as possible. Resubmitting a paper can be complicated, and cumbersome, right? So we are trying to ensure that your paper flows through the editorial submission system at Elsevier. So it goes through very quickly. Whenever it is possible, the rationale for our recommendations are also explained. So you reach your decision on where to transfer your manuscript very quickly. And in most instances, you won't need to reformat the manuscript. And of course, sometimes based on the merits of the manuscript, managing editors like myself give the authors an enhanced offer, wherein we guarantee conditional acceptance or guarantee peer review at the next journal where they would be submitting, at their destination journal. So we can guide you through the entire process as well and every step of the way. And this is how again we help you with to make this process easier. And finally, authors want that their time is not wasted, and uh, so we try to make sure that if you are transferring your articles, then it reduces your time to publication. It avoids the time required to start it from scratch at a new journal at their submission website. You can identify quickly where your paper has the highest chance of acceptance, because you are receiving recommendation from other experts like scientific managing editors and journal editors as well. And if your manuscript has been rejected, say post review, it went out for review and after peer review, after the referee's comments, it was rejected. So the destination journal gets to see those comments as well. So they can make their decisions more quickly and you can focus on refining your paper. So basically, less time is taken on the submission itself and more time is spent on your own research. And that is how article transfer service helps. What you can expect is that it comes from experts. We have a team of 90 plus scientific managing editors from different streams handling different subjects on almost every subject which is there. I personally am on the energy subject. There are others on energy subject as well for different journals. And they will give you an expert advice, and it is combined with state of the art matching algorithms. And we have data on topics, citations, acceptance rates of the destination journals, what they want to see, what they want to publish, and we can assess them and compare them with the manuscripts in question. And so we can give the best recommendations for the authors. And that is what is my job as a scientific managing editor. Uh, in my introduction, Dr. Shova mentioned that I work in the author heroes team. We call ourselves, our team is known as the author heroes. We are working for the authors. We are helping them find the right home, and that for the research, which is our mission. We almost the entire team is a PhD or about to complete their PhD. And so, as former researchers and published authors ourselves, we've been in your shoes. We know how difficult it is to get to an acceptance at any journal. We understand that it's not easy. And we want to support you with a personal approach when your initial submission isn't successful. We come in after the manuscript has been rejected at the first journal you submitted. Then we will assess it. And based on our assessment and what we would give you recommendations on where we think it would be most likely to get published. And then it is the author's choice to decide where they want to get published, how they want to get published, and they can choose to transfer their manuscript there. And once they have also done that, it doesn't mean that the exact same manuscript will get submitted. The authors have a chance to edit it if they need to, especially if it is after review. So you might need to incorporate the reviewer comments, adjust your manuscript accordingly. So those things can be done with the Elsevier article transfer service. With us, helping the authors. So it brings me back to the mission of Elsevier as such. Uh, at Elsevier, our mission is to help researchers and healthcare professionals advance science. And as scientific managing editors, our mission is to help the authors find the right home for their journal. So it is these ethos that make us uh, a nice place to work as well. I can definitely vouch for that. We've won many awards as well for our company culture and others. If after your PhD, if you would be interested to join us, you can do so by elsevier.com and go through the careers option. There are always openings there. Whatever suits you best, you can actually then submit your application to us and see where how that happens. All right, so this has brought me to the end of my presentation. So fortunately, I took, I think, an hour. My apologies for that. I thought it would be finished in 45 minutes. Uh, any questions, please?
We're just checking if there are any questions, Dr. Rishabh.
Yeah, yeah.
There is one question which goes like
Yep.
this.
Yes.
Is there any chance to get rejected by editor due to the transfer because it is already rejected by the earlier journal?
So if it is, if the editors, it has been rejected by the earlier journal and a transfer has been offered by one of the scientific managing editors. So yes, there is a chance that it can get rejected, although uh, the if the scientific managing editor has given those options, it is less likely to be rejected there. The editors at the destination journal have their own independence. They can decide what they want to publish, what they do not want to publish. So they may or may not find whether the research suitable for those journals. But it is our analytics and our own expertise which gives us a suggestion, and we are constantly refining ourselves as well. I mean, my first offer would not have been as good as the offers I'm making today. So we are also constantly refining ourselves. Our analytics are evolving, and so over time we are giving better options. And uh, scientific managing editors ourselves, we are constantly in touch with the editors of these destination journals. We are trying to analyze ourselves. What is it that they want to see? What is it that they don't want to see? And when we take that information and compare it with whatever manuscript we have in our hands, for say for instance, so we use that information to give out what we feel are the best choices. Of course, we are also not perfect, so you might face a situation wherein you submit your manuscript to the destination journal and it still gets rejected. It still happens, but in my view, those are the best choices, or rather the best places where you should get an acceptance, or rather your uh, desired outcome. So that is our target. We want to see your work get published. So that is our goal. We want to help you in the best way we can. So it is possible. Yes. Yes, ma'am. I hope I answered the question. I mean,
Yes, you did. You know, it's always a very tricky situation when you're trying to answer a question when the publication is rejected and you're trying to send it to a different journal. And,
yeah, we
yeah.
are coming in. We are coming in at a place where the authors feel the most dejected. I myself was distraught for 2 days when my first paper got rejected. It took me my supervisor and my seniors to tell me that this is a normal phenomena. It happens. Most of you, as 50 more around 50% of the author participants mentioned that they do not get published in the first journal they submit. You have done your best work. You have put your best foot forward, but still it is not enough. It is possible.
Okay.
Try to not get dejected and see what your next step can be. And that is where we are helping you with the Elsevier article transfer service. Yes.
There is one
Next
more
one.
question, which is about
Yeah.
the article transfer service fee. Is there a fee for this
No,
article
no, no.
transfer?
No, there is no fee for article transfer service. So it is a free service given by Elsevier. It is not there on all journals, I would say. Like there are different, most of the high impact journals have this service, but not all journals do. And not all of them have a scientific managing editor with them. It depends on the volumes. We cater to a lot of journals. Our team is 90 plus, and we handle more, I think, more than 200 journals ourselves. But there are different ways in which an author may receive an offer, a transfer offer. It may be by the journal editors themselves, especially if it is a society journal, from us, or they may even get an option from our analytical systems to get it. But yes, of course, the error rates are different.
There are also a lot of questions that are requesting some strategies, which the
Okay.
authors can use to get their papers selected.
Okay. So first and foremost, I would like to say, as an editor myself, the first thing that comes to when I am analyzing a manuscript is how it looks. Okay, you have done a lot of good science. You have done a nice experiment, many experiments, hopefully with statistical analyses, and you have put your best foot forward and showing it to the world. But if your manuscript appears sloppy, if there are some typographical errors, if the formatting is not proper, although it does not affect an editorial decision, it just gives the editor a bad mood. You don't want your paper to give the editor a bad mood. An editor is seeing hundreds of papers in a day. I, in a year, am seeing over 5,000 papers. So editors are going through your manuscript. As an author, I expect the editor to go through my manuscript, understand what it is, and then send it out for review. Hopefully the reviewers do the same. Then it comes back to the editor, and as an author, I want it to be accepted in my journal, in the journal where I submitted first to. Right. So if any of these people do not feel like reading or going through your manuscript, you are not likely to be accepted, even though you may have done very good science. So as an author, as a researcher, please, before you submit your manuscript, go through it and try to have others go through it as well, because one is always biased for their own work. Try to have someone independent go through it just to see whether it looks appropriate at least or not. And that is, I'm saying, a minimum requirement. And although it will not help you get published, it will help you to not get rejected. That is what I am trying to say. And then comes the scientific part, the core, your methods. What is your inference? What is it that you want to tell in the manuscript? Try to have it as structured as possible. A literature review, an introduction. Think of your audience. Who is going to read this work? I, for instance, worked in my PhD on bioelectrochemical systems. So mostly people who will be reading my work would be other fellow engineers or scientists working on the same field, which means that they will have a lot of the background information already, which means that general information needs to be kept at a very basic minimum. What I need to tell them is what is it that drove me to do this work. So I need to talk about my literature review. Now again, literature review is a very big thing. We see hundreds and thousands of papers, but in your manuscript you will only talk about the ones that made an impact, the ones that shaped the field, that made you decide what to do. And then you will form your own inference, or rather your hypothesis, not inference, hypothesis. So those things should be clear in your manuscript, that okay, this happened, Therefore, this is what is missing. So this is what my study aims to address. And all this happens in the first part. Now, I'm a little biased towards physical sciences because I am a physical scientist myself. There could be others on social sciences and others which are appearing a little different. So please bear with me. Your method should be very clear, concise. It should have sufficient detail for anyone else who wants to replicate the experiment. And then when you come to the results and discussion, this is the meat of your work. You can show your results as graphically as possible. It should be properly visible. And your discussions should be discussions rather than observations of your results. You should not be telling people, okay, this is what is seen in the graph. Whoever is reading can see the graph and analyze that for themselves. What you need to tell them is what the graph explained to you, how that graph helped you, or how that particular finding helped you formulate either to prove the hypothesis or to disprove your hypothesis, how it helped you to reach a conclusion. So your discussion should be proper. And of course, I'm talking about a general structure. It appears very general, but from what I have seen, many times the authors fail to do that. And it could be one of the reasons why they get rejected. And it also could be one of the reasons why they even get rejected after using our article transfer services. We try to give them those helpful suggestions that, okay, maybe don't put any acronyms in your abstract or your title. Try to follow the rules which is there. So those things, we as scientific managing editors, when we are analyzing the manuscript, for each individual manuscript, we try to give these particular comments as well, along with our transfer offer. If there is plagiarism, if it is too high, we try to point that out, that please look at it. If you are copying from your own paper, it is also plagiarism. Please know that. I think there'll be sessions after mine which will explain this thing in more detail. So please be aware. These are some of them. Did I answer the question, ma'am?
It's not an easy question to answer.
I understand none of them are, but still.
I know, because so many factors, so many factors are there depending on the discipline, depending on the area and the reviewers who are looking at our papers. So I think you tried your best, sir, to answer that particular question. And there are also a couple of other questions which is related to, is preprint considered as plagiarism? Does it come under plagiarism?
No. Preprints, okay. If you have submitted a preprint, preprints are, if there is an overlap with preprints are not considered as previously published work.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That is for sure. For any journal, it is true.
Okay, sir. And then people are also asking questions related to the citation. Like, are there any other options through which we can improve our article citation other than the open access?
If you want to improve your article citation, I think the best way to do it is, the work itself. Your work speaks for you. Right? If it is a small incremental advance, then less people are likely to see it. Only those people who are working very close to that particular incremental advance will actually go and see your manuscript. So apart from the quality itself, I cannot recommend any other method to improve your citations. So there is no easy answer. Again, try your best to go through the literature, write a good paper, at least best to your abilities, of course. And if it is in a good journal and if your work actually is sufficiently novel, it will get cited.
Sure. There is one more question. They are curious to know the level of plagiarism, especially for Elsevier journals. Just an approximate number, if you can tell, sir. What kind of plagiarism tools do Elsevier especially check the articles?
Okay. So every article that is submitted in Elsevier goes through a plagiarism check. We exclude bibliography and any quotes which is there. And every journal, or rather every editor, has their own separate threshold of what they consider as plagiarism. It will be very difficult for me and wrong of me to give you a specific number. What I can surely tell you is that try to write your own manuscript. You can, it is easier, at least that is what I learned during my PhD, is that it is better for me to write my sentences myself first and then maybe correct them if needed based on what is already available in literature, rather than the other way around. Instead of taking sentences from literature and correcting them, if you go the other way around, in my opinion, this is again a personal opinion, that your plagiarism would be low. As far as journals are concerned, now every subject has a different threshold. For instance, when I see manuscripts on the journal Energy, I see a lot of manuscripts on different topics as well. But I have noticed that when I try to send them to other journals, some journals would reject even if there is a 15% plagiarism. And some journals would not reject even if there is a 30% plagiarism. So it depends on the subject as well. How evolved is the subject? So it is not right for me to give you a number, but then please try not to at least follow your university's rules. If you're able to follow your university's rules, I think the journals would follow the same. It would not be very different. Please try to check the plagiarism yourself first before submitting. It will help you save some time if that is the reason why your manuscript got rejected.
I would like to tell the audience that there is also another session which will talk about the levels of plagiarism and penalties that are there, because UGC's regulations state very clearly what are the penalties for students and the supervisor, whether it is your thesis or your paper. All these circulars have already been circulated among students, these information, especially through the Center for Research of Anna University. But still, there is always the curiosity to know how journals work that out. And that's why I think these questions are coming up again and again, sir.
I can tell you that at Elsevier we use the Authenticate software to figure out what is the exact level of plagiarism. Scientific managing editors go through the entire report of these plagiarism reports to see whether plagiarism actually exists or not. There could be high plagiarism, it could appear as high plagiarism, but it is actually not. I mean, I think those nuances will be explained in greater detail in the later sessions. But don't worry about it, but please be aware about it, is my suggestion to all the scholars in terms of
So
journals.
there is another query, like one of our participants had submitted an article to an Elsevier journal where the review time was mentioned as 4 weeks, but then it had
Okay.
been several months and still there is no response. Is this common, or
Okay.
should he be worried about it?
So you should not be worried if you have submitted your journal article to Elsevier. So when we say that the review time is 4 weeks, this is the average of all the papers that go in for review. So there could be certain situations, and unfortunately, this can happen, especially during a holiday season, or maybe if some particular person is on a break, that it takes a lot of time for the reviewers to find reviewers first, and if they have agreed to actually give a suitable review for the manuscript. Sometimes the review comes in from the reviewers, but it is not suitable for the editor to use that review, which actually takes up more time for the editor to find a good review, because that is what is the editor's responsibility to your manuscript. They cannot simply give you a review which is useless. Of course, there would be some people who might have gotten less than useful reviews as well, because that also sometimes happens. Please be patient. If you are worried about it, please write to the journal asking the situation. Usually, people will respond to you from the journal saying that yes, it is under review. or what is the situation, if they can tell you that. Maybe the editor, mostly the editor will not. There are some people called journal managers who may do that. So please don't worry, it happens. It is, there are again multiple factors which may have caused it, but the average is 4 weeks. So some people would probably get it in 2 weeks as well. I have seen that. So please don't worry, it happens.
Sir, there was also another question which
Yeah.
was about Mendeley, whether
Yeah.
there is any option to customize the references format, because the university has a particular reference format, and so
Yeah.
our scholars would like to know if Mendeley
Yes.
accommodates that kind of a customizing option.
Yes. See, on Mendeley, you have a lot of options for which is journal specific as well. And most universities, I am not aware of the guidelines from Anna University though. Most of the universities follow a standard protocol. For instance, it could be APA or Harvard style or IEEE style, or there are different reference styles. So in you may have been provided some information from the university about the university's preferred referencing style. So you have all those styles present in uh, Mendeley. Once you have that, once it is there within your document, for it, I have always prepared my reports and manuscripts on Microsoft Word, so I will use that example. Once you have it on Word, you can customize it manually as well, although I would not suggest it. So that you can do that, and say you submitted to one journal, or you have a report or a manuscript for Anna University, and now you want to submit it, say, to the journal Energy. Own reference form. So on Mendeley, you can find, I think, a huge variety. I don't remember the exact number, but you can find each journal specifically as well. Okay, you want to submit to Energy. Okay, click on Energy, and all your references will get formatted as per what the Energy journal requires. And it's not just Elsevier journals; it is journals from other publishers as well. So please be careful on the guide. What is it that your university requires? There will be a name of a style, I guess. I think the students may have been informed about this, madam. Yes.
So the
Did I
other
answer?
questions are mostly, yes, you did answer that question. The other questions are mostly about the time that is taken for submission and review,
Okay. Yeah.
and otherwise there's also a quick question like, what is the difference between a platform and a database? Is Scopus a database or a platform? Can you
Yeah.
please
So
answer that
Scope.
question?
Yeah. Scopus is a database. For my preceding speaker, which Mr. Sharma, talked to you about Web of Science. Web of Science is also a database. So what a database does is that it collects information from several different places, and it is available to you over there. And it, in our cases, it does a lot of analytics as well. ScienceDirect is a platform, and when I say platform, it is where the journal itself is housed. If you go to ScienceDirect, you can go there and actually read the entire manuscript if you want to. You can't do that on Scopus. On Scopus, you can just find out who has published it. At best, you can find out what is the abstract and title, and maybe the keywords. So whatever is public information is available on that database or on these databases, like keywords, abstract, and analytics related to them. And the platform is where the journal itself is housed. So a lot of all the Elsevier public journals are housed on ScienceDirect. So that is where you'll find the journal homepage. That is where you'll find all the information about the journal. You'll find the guide for authors there. You'll find recent publications there, and specific publications will also be there within ScienceDirect itself. So if you are reading the entire manuscript, you are likely going to read it on sciencedirect.com. May I take some time on the review and time as well for submission? Yeah. So I myself am an editor on a journal which is Helion. So I also handle manuscripts, and I can tell you for sure we give you may have received some invitations from journals as reviewers. Now, when you see those invitations, you might see that those invitations are only for say 14 days or 21 days, at most 1 month to complete your review. But when you are an author, you see sometimes it takes a longer time to get a review done. And that is again coming back to what I said earlier. It is the editor's responsibility to give the authors usable reviews or get usable reviews themselves so that they can figure out whether the particular manuscript is suitable for their journal or not, whether it is scientifically sound or not, whether it is properly novel or not. So those things are figured out by the editor with the help of usable reviews, which go through every aspect of the manuscript. And it can take a lot of time to actually get that done, which is why the review times are high in many cases. And in some cases, it depends on the reviewer. They might be available. It has happened that I have asked a reviewer to review a manuscript and I have received the review within an hour. But I cannot convey that information to the author yet because I need at least 2 reviews, at least 2 proper reviews to make my own decision. And then I will forward them to the authors, telling them, okay, this is what the reviewers think, this is what I think, therefore, this is what you can do to improve your work, or you can accept or reject depending on what the reviews themselves are. And coming to the submission process, now, yes, the submission process may be time taking, and if you are doing your first submission, there is nothing else that can be done. If you are following the guide to authors properly, it should work smoothly. If you have not, then you may reach some roadblocks. However, if you use the Elsevier article transfer service, the future submission in your destination journal will not take time, because if you accept our transfers, all your documents, all your uh, uh, files which you have submitted at the source journal, at the originating journal, would go as it is to the destination journal. And there you would only have to go and check, okay, if everything is there, if you need to make changes, make it. If not, then go ahead and submit it. So that is how we work to save your time. Any other questions, ma'am? I see that we have only 6 minutes left. I think we can take 1 or 2 more questions.
Yes, sir. So that will be all, because the other questions are again repetition of the previous aspects that we have discussed. So, I think it would be a good time to thank you and, actually run through some of the ideas that you have discussed, because like I said previously, most of us are only thinking about our individual research questions and problems, and we are only thinking, how to get published at all, first of all. But knowing these nuances, I'm sure, can help a lot of researchers to make themselves visible, to put them on the map, and understand what actually happens backstage, especially with journals. Getting an access to editors like you and asking you questions directly has been a very great experience, I should say, for all our participants, because the kind of topic that we have discussed, how to find the most suitable journal for our research and our publication. I think that is definitely the need of the hour. And as we can see from the questions, many of us are making baby steps into this area, because research scholars, they usually go with their supervisor's recommendations when it comes to a journal or how to submit. But them making these discoveries and explorations can be very empowering, is what I personally believe. So I hope that you have kind of handheld them through the process. You have walked them through the journey of finding the right research journal in which they can publish. So it has been an extremely beneficial session, I should say, because we have around 600 people who have been listening to your
Awesome.
lecture. And of course, the poll was very interesting because it also gave some insight for the organizers ourselves, because we were able to see,
Okay.
how exactly people think and respond to, what is the kind of demography that we have among us, and our awareness about all these topics. So it was an extremely useful session, and we also appreciate the amount of patience you had in answering all the questions, though significant or otherwise. So thank you. We would like to host you again at Anna University, maybe for an offline session as well. So there are lots of appreciation coming in for your session. So thank you, sir. And on behalf of the Center for Research and the University Library, I would like to thank your presence here. And I also thank the participants for having asked all those questions and for being active during the poll sessions. So thank you, Dr. Rishabh. You may leave now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. I hope I have answered your questions to the best of my ability. Of course, there are no easy answers when it comes to publishing, and there are no general answers. Everything is very, very, very specific. So just like our own research is very unique and very specific. So please keep that in mind, and hopefully I hope to see many more manuscripts from Anna University. At least I hope not to see them, but if I do, please go ahead and accept my transfers if you go. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. I have shared my email address as well. If you would like, you can write to me. I will hopefully reply as well. Thank you so much for listening to me and seeing my face for so long. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome, sir. Thank you. So participants,